one of my favorite lineups has a new member. Tissot Heritage watches get their magic from iconic designs, mainly from the 30s, 40s, 50s, nearly always very well adopted and executed and therefore popular. The latest release is the Tissot Heritage 1938 Chronometer that brings back the uncluttered layout of the 30s and a big surprise. But first let's go over the specifications. This Tissot is an automatic watch with a case diameter of 39mm, a length lug-to-lug of 46.5 and a height of 11.1. Lug width is indicated with 20. The watch has a steel case, a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on both sides, is waterproof up to 50 meters and is powered by the good old ETA 2824-2 with a power reserve of 38 hours. We can choose between two dial colors, salmon and dark gray, various straps, and the price is 875 euros including VAT and 825 US dollars without VAT. So let's begin, but little trigger warning, this won't be a pure hymn of praise. So on the plus side we have a well-designed watch from people with, well, some 100 years of experience. At first glance the dial looks simple, but when you dive deeper then you see how meticulously they have treated every detail. Great proportions of the numerals, great length of the hands. The hour hand touches the numerals, the minute hand, the minute track, the second hand, the outer edge of the dial. Extremely legible without being too bold. We see the old Tissot logo and the word chronometer written in a font that looks modern from a distance, but if you study it longer then you see fine little serifs that indicate something with heritage. Slightly unusual is the Swiss made around the 30 on the minute track. I would have expected the track just going on and the Swiss made placed in tiny letters above or under it. The entire dial comes without lume. Don't get confused here. The numerals might look like artificial age superluminova, but that would be a very odd decision because the hands are blank, so non-lumed printed numerals. On the salmon dial this is of course very obvious. So the dial overall is in my eyes a big plus. Makes sense from a historic standpoint, doesn't look outdated and brings a lot of functionality with it. Another plus is the crown we can professionally describe as beautiful, just beautiful. Some references to the flat crowns of the 30s, bit of an onion in it, so pocket watch DNA, very nice. But unfortunately, now we have some decisions I find not 100% convincing. To give you a bit of background, I own two watches of the Heritage line, the Navigator from the 90s and the Banana from the early 2000s, here in full size. And my first real watch, believe it or not, was a Tissot Lisboa I later gave to a friend. All these models are modern interpretations, but done with a lot of care. Here on the other hand, we see some rather simple things like the snapped caseback. There is no need to use something like that today. Historically it makes sense, yes, but certainly not in combination with an exhibition caseback, so that you see the rotor of an automatic movement, which is also somewhat disturbing for this type of watch. In fact, the entire case seems a bit too simple, with only little care for nice forms. It looks generic. You could basically build most watch genres up on this case. But back to the pro and to the surprise, and that's certainly these 875 euros or 825 US dollars. The Heritage line is not new. They started I think in the 90s and mostly with prices around the 1000 mark. Recently, however, we've seen untold numbers of mid-tier brands attempting to establish prices much higher, 2 or 3 times higher. And here we are now in the 800s. That's nothing but great for a very established brand with good reputation, for an ETA, for a watch that works within COSC parameters. So if you can't see over the rather big size, over the generic case, then the Tissot Heritage 1938 Chronometer can be a decent addition for your watch collection. And that said, allow me to close this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much and see you next Monday to Watch of the Week.